B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach. We need to know this week's Parsha is Noach. Noah's Ark. And Noach is a very interesting figure because the Torah says, Sadiq haya bedorotav. He was righteous in his generation. Why does the Torah need to say that Noach was righteous for his generation? Why not just say he was righteous? So some rabbis, Rashi brings, say that the idea here is that Noach was outstanding. Can you imagine everybody is rotten and immoral in your generation, and still he was able to be holy and pure and complete, faithful servant of God? So for sure, if he had a better atmosphere and environment, if he would for sure even be greater. Other rabbis say no. He was only righteous in his generation. If we compare him to Moses or Moshe or Abraham, he wouldn't be anything to talk about. He wouldn't be anything outstanding. Only relative to his rotten and immoral generation was he standing out. But in a generation of Moses or Abraham, no. Now, today's the Yartzheit of Rav Obadiah Yosef, the king and prince of Torah, that brought the glory of Sephardic tradition back to, and we miss him deeply every day, his guidance, his clarity in halakha. Rav Obadiah says, bottom line, why be critical of Noach? He saved the world, and the Torah is clearly saying he was a complete tamim, sadiq, haya b'dorotav, et Elohim yidan lech Noach. Noach was constantly walking with God. And the answer is that the reason why we have to, it's an important lesson for us. Noach, unfortunately, never prayed or engaged his generation like Avraham. Avraham prayed so much for Sodom, which were the worst rotten people in Avraham's generation, that God shouldn't destroy them. We never find Noach praise for his generation. Avraham would go to the four corners of the ancient world and pinch his tent and invite people in to eat and drink and sleep. And at the end, when they would thank him, he said, no, you have to thank the Almighty. So he would engage and try to bring back people to the path of the Lord, to Teshuvah. Why Noach didn't do that? Now the question is, Noach did not do that. Now the $1 million question here is, really, why didn't Noach pray for his generation, engage his generation, try to, like a missionary, lahavdil, try to, sit at the table with them? And the answer here is very important. Because in Noach's mind, he thought they were hopeless. That's why Rav Obadiah says we're critical of Noach. To be a Jew is to always have hope. We have to know that, like they say in Yiddish, the pintel yid, there's always that fire in the neshama. And since Avraham, contrary to Noach, he believed in humanity. He said, even if people are idol worshippers and they're rotten and they don't know God, there's always hope for them to change. Therefore, he prayed for them. Therefore, he invited them. He engaged with them. He hosted them, gave them food and drink. And this is an important lesson to us. The reason why the Chachamim, the commentators, the great wise men, Chachamim of the Torah, are critical of Noach is because psychologically, that philosophy of never having hope is totally, losing hope in humanity is not kosher, is not appropriate. That's why they say, King David says, even if there's a sharp razor blade knife on your neck, know that a miracle could happen any second. Don't titya'ish min harachamim. Don't despair. Yeshuat Hashem kerafayim. In a split second, God could still, when the razor blade and the sword is at your neck, can save you. So never despair, still pray and look to the Almighty for a miracle. And this is really today's this third Yartzheit of Moreno v'Rabbeinu Me'or Yisrael, the light of the nation of Israel, Rav Obadiah Yosef. He passed away 3 years ago, and I think this is appropriate to Rav Obadiah. Rav Obadiah saw in Israel literally maybe the vast majority of Sephardic Jews were not knowledgeable in Torah. He saw that traditionally the greatest scholars of the Torah like Rambam, Maimonides and Nachmanides, the great Rashba, Rav Obadiah believed, just like AVRAHAM Avinu did, in the greatness of the soul. And he said one day he was God's agent to really, through his tireless efforts, Baruch Hashem, we see in Israel that the Sephardim are keeping their own tradition and the words of the Maran, the Shulchan Aruch. And we every day of our life we miss, the world is so much darker, we miss Rav Obadiah's encyclopedic scholarism, and really his heart was unbelievably cared about every Jewish person in the world. His heart was as great as his mind. And just like Avraham Avinu was able to restore the worship of God in the world, so Rav Obadiah also brought back the glory of the Torah of the Middle Eastern Sephardic Jews. Have a wonderful Shabbat and never lose hope. Shalom.